Doobity-doo-doo-doo-doo-wop. It doesn't matter what comes, fresh as splatter and light. With Mentos fresh as cool, love light. Nothing gets to you like Mentos fresh being cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's me, bitches. That's me singing. That's me singing about Mentos. That's right. The Fresh Maker.
Garage band, roll out.
Garage band, roll. Oh, shit. Ooh, I thought I was a goner there.
Well, Connor's dying, so I will say welcome to the podcast.
Yay. My God. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 46 of the HooperCast. I'm Mr. Hooper. I've been away, but now I'm back. Hi, Dustin.
Hello, Mr. Hooper. I've also been away, but we're both back.
I'll be right here.
I'll be right here. On the Blogspot page.
Mm-hmm.
How many subscribers do we have on YouTube now, by the way?
Well, let me check real quick. As of today, August 9th, 41. Our total view count for all of our videos is 45,801.
Woo!
And most of that's the Final Destination episode.
Still doesn't make any sense.
Well, listeners, will you please email us and tell us why that episode is so popular? I don't understand. There's nothing about it that stands out from other episodes. Search history, links, favorites. Analytics, here we go. Top geographies. Philippines, Indonesia, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia.
Sweet.
Yep. 69% male. 30% female.
How about that?
The fact that we have any female audiences.
That baffles me.
Well, thank you all for listening. We definitely appreciate your listenership. And we're just happy to reach any audience.
Indeed.
It's just hilarious that barely any of you are from our area of the world.
I know. We'll never meet any of you guys.
Yeah, ever. All right. Well, anyway, I believe the last time we podcasted was for Iron Man 3, so that was sometime in May, I guess.
May. Yeah, that's been a while.
Wow. How's your summer been, Dustin?
It's been pretty good. I been keeping busy, seeing some pretty ballin' movies, and worked at a summer camp for kids, teaching kids how to make movies. So that was fun. I helped them make a couple of really good movies, and you guys should all Google search Camp Flicks. It takes place every summer here in Atlanta, over 2 weeks. It's a really cool program. That's Flix, F-L-I-X, and like Netflix. And it's an awesome program. We have people from all over come to learn how to make movies. Kids from France, kids from Germany, it's a pretty awesome program. And the kids are way better at making movies than I was at their age. And it's just interesting to see how even in a few short years, the difference that technology has made to these kids, because, as I'm sure you will attest, when we were coming up, the video cameras we were using were not good cameras. Like, they had nothing, no settings that you could do manually. No. Everything was just awful, and it shot on little, high-8 tapes or whatever.
Like autofocus.
DV tapes at the best, yeah. Just standard def, terrible
automatic
quality.
Lighting. You couldn't shoot. We tried to shoot something, and actually, this is the thing I submitted to SCAD, and they're like, "He's backlit." I was like, "What do you expect? I don't have. I can't change the settings, and my door faces west, and it was 5:00 in the afternoon. I can't. He can't not be backlit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have a light kit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a high schooler,
I was like, what a bitch. Anyway,
I know, for real. But no, they these kids are really good, and the cameras they're using are awesome, and some of them are using DSLRs.
Wow.
And so it's really advanced, and of course, also when we were coming up, there weren't very many options or let me rephrase that. There weren't very many affordable options for editing, and now, I mean, you can you can shoot your movie on your iPhone, edit it on your iPhone, and put it on YouTube on your iPhone. And these kids just have so much opportunity, and it's cool to see them and how they've already embraced it. And I think we're gonna, give it a few years, and we're gonna have some really talented filmmakers out there that have been doing it for a very long time. So yeah,
that's cool.
So how's your summer been, Hooper?
I've been working a lot, and just trying to make money. Just putting the nail to the grind. Is it the nail to the grindstone? Is that the saying?
I don't think so.
Is it the head to the grindstone? Nose to the grindstone?
I've heard nose, but that doesn't make any sense either.
Because what are you going to do with your nose? You're just going to break your nose.
Yeah, but why would you grind a nail either?
Yeah. So it's not nail, it's not nose, it's not head.
The idiom is nose to the grindstone.
What? To smell the stone? Does it smell nice? I don't understand.
I don't know. It makes no sense. Keep your nose to the grindstone. It means to work hard and constantly.
I think we should amend that one. Well, you will work constantly if you're trying to use your nose for the grindstone. I mean, but that's also an idiom for not making progress. I mean, right?
Yeah. That's really weird.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing that with the grindstone.
Sweet.
I've been putting the chisel to the grindstone to actually make progress. And so, just a few things are moving around. So I'm trying to see how that shakes out. But I will just say briefly, I did see the Wolverine.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so it was better than X-Men Origins.
Oh, okay.
Good. Yeah, it was still, the action was really good. It was, some of it was like shot really close and shaky. So a little bit of it's like, man, if you just pulled, like, the choreography is amazing. And if they would just have pulled back a little bit, you'd be able to see it a little better. It's not incompetent though. It's just more like okay, well, I wouldn't have done that. I don't think
it's just a stylistic choice that didn't quite fly. Yeah, I gotcha.
I like the movie as a whole. It's definitely the least mutant-y of the X-Men films, because it's like the only one where there's like one other mutant in it, and she's not even a big part of the story, and so it's a really nice little self-contained story, well shot, solid film. So it's, I hope they keep making good stuff with the X-Men, and so the stinger at the end was really cool, and so I'm not excited for Days of Future Past, but I'm optimistic.
Cool.
So
is that the last movie you saw in theaters?
Yeah, and then I think before that it was like Superman.
I gotcha.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention Comic-Con because of that news about Bryan Cranston cosplaying as Walter White.
Yes, that is awesome.
Amazing. Like, all those people just got home, and when they heard the news, they're like, "Oh my god, I took a picture with that guy.
I saw that guy."
Yeah.
And they had no idea.
Yeah.
I think Bryan Cranston was on Jimmy Fallon a few days ago, and he brought the mask, and Jimmy Fallon put it on, so it was Heisenberg interviewing Bryan Cranston on the talk show. It was awesome.
That's great.
It's an awesome mask. I looked it up. You can buy it. You can buy that mask. It is $3,000.
What?
It is $3,000 to buy that mask.
Oh my God.
He makes it specifically for you. Like it's like an individualized thing. So you have to email the artist, and he'll send you a mask for $3,000. So I'd have to wear that thing every day to get my money's worth.
Well, yeah.
I'd have to be the danger every day of my life.
And knock on doors. You could be a Jehovah's Witness.
I could. A dangerous Jehovah's Witness, yes.
Mm-hmm. Every day.
Well, I'm rewatching season 5 right now.
Yeah?
It starts back in a couple days.
Oh, man, I'm so excited.
On Sunday, man.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time this is out there, it'll probably have aired. And, I mean, unless you get it put online tomorrow, which is cool.
Unless I'm diligent.
Well, but we're not really making money off of it, so, I mean, I can't really expect you to put that much time into it. But by the time this airs, Breaking Bad probably will have also aired. And that also means there's another show that's airing right after Breaking Bad called Low Winter Sun.
What?
Which I'm definitely going to check out.
What's that about?
It's on AMC. It stars Mark Strong. And so basically he's playing like a cop who is essentially losing his morality because of the choice that he makes at the beginning of the show, in the pilot episode, I guess. And so evidently it's adapted from some British version that Mark Strong also played this role in. But this time around it's for American audiences, so he's playing it American as opposed to British. And so, yeah, it should be pretty cool. I mean, it's obviously a role that Mark Strong knows inside out because he's done it before, albeit fairly differently. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll stick around for the pilot. So I love Mark Strong.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear the news about the Expendables 3?
Yes.
Firing Bruce Willis?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I don't want to pick on him, but
I do.
He deserves it. I mean,
he does.
He sounds like an asshole.
he really does.
Yeah.
I just don't understand, like, at what point, like, I understand that if you know you can make X amount of money doing a job, that's what you're going to ask for, but how you can settle on that number and have no flexibility.
How much was it again?
I think it was $1 million a day or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is ridiculous.
No one else is asking that much. He's like,
no.
I don't care.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want.
God.
That's just ridiculous. Like, I've always heard that he does overcharge. And, you know, it sucks. But I understand his logic, which is, hey, I can get this much, so I'm going to ask for this much. But at the same time, like, if you want to keep working, if you want to be in projects that are, you know, that have any merit, you can't charge that much.
Yep.
Anyway.
$1 million a day. Kiss my ass.
Who gets $1 million a day? Yeah. Good Lord.
Oh, well, it worked for a while.
Yeah.
That's why he could afford to phone in all his performances, because who cares?
Pretty much, yeah.
Maybe now.
Hard 5, okay.
You know what, though? After what happened with Expendables 2, where, like, for a while it was going to be PG-13 because of Chuck Norris. I'm glad Stallone put his foot down there. I'm glad he put his foot down here and said, you're being
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is crazy.
I have way more respect for Sylvester Stallone than for Bruce Willis.
I do too, and especially because this is like an ensemble piece. If it was like a tour de force, like, okay, Bruce, it's you by yourself, like I Am Legend or something. Like, okay, you're gonna have to put in a whole lot of work, so yeah, I can see charging more for it. Although at the same time, it's like, yeah, but you're gonna be working for like, 6 months, so why charge $1 million a day? But anyway, the point is, if you're doing more work, I can understand a higher price tag.
Yeah.
But on an ensemble piece, you're probably not going to have that much to actually do. And anyway.
Yeah, it's just stupid guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a bit part. It's a guy who assigns a job and whatever. So.
Exactly.
But they got Harrison Ford, who's just like, whatever, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. Which is cool, because I love Harrison Ford. Yeah. I'll always love Harrison Ford. I had a dream the other day that I met Harrison Ford. It was an awesome dream. The dream, okay, let me just tell you this.
Yeah, what happened in the dream?
In the dream, I was chilling at a hotel for some reason. I was in like a hotel lobby, and this dude comes up and goes, "Hey, you wouldn't happen to want to work on a movie set, would you?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, "Okay, well, we're shooting Star Wars Episode 7 here. Do you want to go into the conference room and wait for everybody to show up?" And I was like, Yeah. So I go wait in this room, and I'm just sitting there for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay, obviously this guy's just, just yanking my chain. So I'm gonna leave. And so like I get up, and then like a guy walks around beside me, and it's Harrison Ford in his Han Solo get up.
Oh my god!
And he's like, I'm just gonna sit here and read my script silently if you don't mind. And I was like, dude, you're Harrison Ford. You can do whatever you want. Like, you don't have to ask my permission for anything. And so anyway, long story short, like, eventually J.J. Abrams gets there, and like Carrie Fisher, and then everyone keeps yelling at Carrie Fisher because she can't act, and she's ruining every take. And then eventually I go to, and J.J. is not even handling it. He's just like, maybe like more angry this time, Carrie, and she does the exact same thing. And I'm like, I've lost all respect for you as a director, JJ. and then like eventually I get up the nerve to go to JJ and be like, hey, if this is set in like a galaxy far, far away, why are we shooting in a conference room at a hotel? And he's like, oh, it's not in space anymore. And that's the last thing I remember before I woke up. So
at that point in the dream, you committed suicide.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's it for Star Wars. That's it for me.
Oh man, that's a good dream.
It was crazy. I just like everyone yelling at Carrie Fisher. Like, it was just like clear Harrison was getting so angry. Like why can't she act? She can't act at all. And she's just sitting there like a beached whale.
Oh god! Wow. I'm trying to get my wife to do a Breaking Bad, a Doctor Who episode with me, but we've been slugging through the final like 4 episodes of the current season of it with Matt Smith. So, and of course, he announced that he's gonna retire as the Doctor, and he's gonna regenerate in this upcoming Christmas special. And they announced the new Doctor, a few days ago, and it's Peter Capaldi. And so I didn't recognize the name at the time. And the picture they had of him, he had like a Don Quixote goatee. I was like, "Who's this dude?
Oh, really?
He's old,
you know." Yeah.
But when I looked him up and I saw him without it, I was like, "Oh, that's the guy from In the Loop," you know.
Oh yeah.
I know you don't watch the show, but it's another one of those things where they talk about, well, why don't they? Doctor Who's one of those shows where they do recast the lead often, more often than James Bond. And there's a lot more freedom with casting than with James Bond because the Doctor is an extraterrestrial. He's a Time Lord.
He can be anybody.
He could be anybody. He's talked about every time he regenerates, he jokes that he's still not a ginger. He's still not a woman. And so they're like, well, why not just make him like a woman? A woman could play the Doctor. Blah blah blah. So technically, that could happen. Although I feel like an alien who is one gender would remain that gender.
Right.
It's just my opinion. I do think the Doctor should always be British, and
I agree.
But there's no reason I do agree that there's no reason he can't be, a black guy.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened yet. But there are some people who are just complaining, like, well, I guess they picked the best, white male to do it, and I'm like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
I am kind of glad though that they'd pick an older guy because the previous 3 Doctors are all relatively young people, so it is kind of a good time to just because all the Doctors before that were at least in their 40s. I mean, I guess Christopher Eccleston was, but David Tennant. I don't know how old Matt Smith is, but he seems pretty young. I can't remember how old David Tennant. I should have done my research, but the point is, Peter Capaldi is very clearly like not a young man, but if you've ever seen him in anything, he's a great actor, and his comedic timing is fantastic. So that makes him the perfect candidate. He does a lot of stage work too, kind of like David Tennant did. So we'll see. I mean, if Tara and I ever do this episode, we'll talk about it more in depth, but. I'm kind of ready for Matt Smith to not be the Doctor anymore. Like, Christopher Eccleston was good, and then, like, David Tennant was just amazing. Like, if I go back and watch the series again, I will watch just David Tennant's stuff. He had the best storylines, he had the best take on the character, and he had the best, like, regeneration. He's the only Doctor who saw his regeneration as like a form of death, whereas all the other ones were like, "Fuck yeah, I'm about to regenerate," you know?
Yeah.
His last words were, "I don't want to go," and so I felt his Doctor had the best and most tragic end. And Matt Smith, from the moment he popped on screen, I remember thinking like, "Oh, it's definitely different," but maybe it just feels that way because we only had one season of Eccleston, and so it was easier to let go of him, and we've had 3 seasons of David Tennant, and maybe it's harder. I don't know. Yeah. And then we've gone throughout the series, and I'm like, the strength of the Matt Smith Doctor is not the Doctor himself. It's probably like the companions. For people who watch, the Amy Pond character, I think really carried the Doctor's, Matt Smith's Doctor. So I'm kind of ready for him to do something else too. So I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. But I just wanted to touch on that real quick. But,
that's big news. I did see the image of him, and the first thing I thought was like, well, this is definitely a different choice. And obviously, I don't know anything about the character other than that he regenerates and he can be anybody, theoretically. Yeah. And so, I just thought that was cool that they'd kind of break the mold, because the show, like, always had an older Doctor, and like you said, and then it kind of came into popularity and more of like the zeitgeist whenever it got younger. And so it's cool that they're going back older, like proving that they can do whatever. I think is something that I think is kind of cool about it. That they're not just sticking to what has been popular. Yeah. But that they're branching out, and I think that's cool.
And another thing that, can go, I don't want to throw all my Doctor Who cards on the table, but there's basically somebody, I'll go ahead and say who it was, Cyrus from Spill.com had an idea that I was listening to their podcast, and he was talking about how he actually ran into one of like the showrunners at Comic-Con, and who was, he just asked him like as a fan, like, well, tell me, like, what do you think of how where the show's going? Do you like it? Blah, blah, blah. And so he gave his honest opinion. He said, especially with the casting, there was an episode called The Doctor's Daughter, where basically this race tried to clone the Doctor. And so they did, but it was basically like the essence of him. And so they basically grew like another Time Lord, and it was a woman. So they refer to her as his daughter. And she's actually who David Tennant ended up marrying. So it's his current wife now. And her father was Peter Davison, who was the 5th Doctor. So it's a bunch of crazy, like, And she basically, at the course of the episode, got like her own ship and said, I'm going to be a Time Lord across the universe too, in space and time. It goes off and we never see her again. So he's saying, why not just give her own show? Since she's a Time Lord, she can regenerate, and you can regenerate her into other female Time Lords, and that will shut everybody up. And I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. So anyway, they've already got several Doctor Who spinoffs. They have the Sarah Jane Chronicles and Torchwood. Why not just add, this? So that sounds like a good idea to me. So
there was something too that was aimed at kids, wasn't there? It's called Canine and Company.
Oh, did you ever see that?
Was that aimed at kids?
I guess. Canine, I can't remember where in the original series it came out, but Canine is like this bulky robotic dog.
Yeah.
That helped the Doctor. And so they had Canine pop up for like a few things as a callback. But ultimately, they only used him a couple times because he's so silly. Yeah. So I guess that's...
Oh, no, wait, hold on. Canine and Company was from the 80s. There's a newer one called just Canine.
Oh, okay.
It lasted 26 episodes. It was on Disney XD in UK.
How many Disney channels are there?
There's a bunch. There's like Disney Channel XD. There's Disney Junior. No, wait, no, that's Nick Jr. Disney something, whatever it is. I don't know, the kids one. Anyway, there's a few.
If Disney has a kids channel, then what does that make the Disney Channel? You know what I mean? Also, like Nickelodeon, do they have like an adult equivalent, like the N? And is it called the D?
No, I don't think so. That would be hilarious.
Anyway, all right, what?
I don't think. I don't think Disney knows what they're doing anymore. Like really about anything. John and I were talking about this recently. We were saying that Disney is like just kind of at a loss right now because if you think about it, like let's look at the movies. Okay, so they bought Star Wars and they bought Marvel. Well, in the reverse order, but and then they have been like just kind of coasting off of that stuff recently, particularly Marvel, and then they have planned, I think, Marvel movies through 2021.
Yeah.
And they have Star Wars movies planned for who knows how long, indefinitely, I guess.
Yeah.
They're looking at it. I think it was inevitable that this would happen, but they're looking at it now, everything that comes their way as a potential franchise to be used in every area. So when they bought Marvel, now they have like comic book revenue, they have theme park revenue, they can stick Spider-Man on the Disney Channel, which they have done, and so they can get revenue from all of these different areas. And so I think what Disney's doing is they're trying to find stuff like that they can mine from all of their different like subsidiaries. And so they made a deal with James Cameron to do an Avatar land in the middle of Animal Kingdom, because that makes any sense. And so they're looking at ways that they can expand and grow, but not even like as a company, but rather as a franchise, like gatekeeper kind of thing. Yeah. And it's really sad to see because Universal is really taking the spotlight from Disney right now, from the Disney parks, whether it's because of Harry Potter or Despicable Me or whatever. Simpsons, they're kind of stealing the spotlight from Disney for the first time, and anyway, it's just sad. And so it just goes to talk about your point. Is there? If they have a Disney for kids, what is the Disney Channel? Well, they don't know. They don't care. Like, I don't think they really look at it that way anymore, which is really weird because Disney Channel is obviously aimed at girls and obviously aimed at the, like, tween girls. So everything else is just kind of like, whatever. That's why Mickey doesn't play there, because it doesn't appeal to girls. That appeals to boys generally. And so... anyway, I just don't think they know what they're doing. So.
What they open the Lone Ranger against? It was like
I don't remember, but it
was opened against something like they thought they were counter programming, but they weren't. The movie was Despicable Me 2. And John's basically saying it reminded him of he says Disney has this attitude about itself right now that they're unbeatable.
Yeah.
And it says, they're making all these stupid decisions, like opening, Winnie the Pooh against the final Harry Potter film. Like they're thinking it's counter-programmed. It's like, oh, well, little kids want to go see Winnie the Pooh. And it's like, actually,
no,
little kids have parents and siblings, and they were in the demographic of wanting to see. You're going up against, like, the most successful franchise that's currently going, the Harry Potter films, the last movie... and you're putting it in the same weekend. You're basically just cutting off Winnie the Pooh's head and putting it on a fucking stick. Like
exactly.
Awful. Like and then you wonder, like, well, why didn't we make money? It's like, because you're stupid.
No, it's true. They don't know what they're doing, and
that's why you put Winnie the Pooh in you put it in the summer. You put it in July. What's wrong?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's like a late November movie
it's
or
a
something.
Death Sentence or March. Like.
Yeah, no, it's really weird because I don't even know where to begin. Disney's just they need to be knocked down a couple pegs, and maybe John Carter and Lone Ranger kind of did that for him a little bit. Because I mean, to be fair, John Carter wasn't that bad, and I hear the Lone Ranger wasn't that bad, but they both flopped like big time, and just thinking about the way that they think, like, okay. The Lone Ranger. Okay, who's it going to appeal to? And then someone says 18 to 25 boys. And they're like, okay, cool, that's a good idea. So, but you realize the 18 to 25 boys, they don't know who the Lone Ranger is. So you can't coast on name recognition. So at that point, you don't offer a $200 million budget. You say, make it for $100 million or $70 million. And then if it proves successful, then we'll make a sequel and we'll go big with the next one.
Right.
Even though I don't really think you should go big with the Lone Ranger. But the point is, you don't sink $200 million into a movie that has no name recognition, that does not appeal by its very nature to 18 to 25-year-old boys. So you have to change the nature of the movie to meet that demographic. Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't make any sense. And just like the thought process behind all of that really aggravates me. Like, it just proves they don't really know what they're doing. And then they have this whole 2D, they shut down all of their production houses for traditional 2D animation, which is an art form that Walt Disney helped to pioneer.
Yeah.
And then they just close it. It's done. As if that's not a viable option. Well, it's because you opened the last one against Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. That's why it doesn't look like a viable option. And anyway, it just... they don't know what they're doing.
Not only do they not know what they're doing, but they're almost in denial. Either they're in denial about what's causing the movies to fail, or they know it and they're refusing to acknowledge it. There was a story about how Johnny Depp and Jerry Bruckheimer have both been saying in the press that the reason the Lone Ranger flopped was because of critics. And it's because the critics just didn't like it. They wanted it to fail. Even going so far as to claim that critics had written their reviews even before seeing the film, which they couldn't have possibly known. It didn't sound so much like the two of them were just stupid. It sounded like the studio came to them and said, you tell them all it's the critics' fault and don't admit the movie's bad. Don't you do it,
Right. Well, although truthfully that may have played a role in it.
Yeah,
because
if you look at Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, like there's plenty of movies that did great financially that are shitty, and critics called them shitty. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, no, I true.
And while we're on the subject of the Lone Ranger, I'd like to voice my disappointment in Mr. Depp. I've been a fervent supporter of this man creatively. When I saw him in Pirates of the Caribbean, I was like, "Who's this dude?" And I found out he's like this. He's been doing all this stuff. So I've watched all his movies, and I was like, this is an artist. This is someone who's also seems like he's immune to the effects of fame. He doesn't seek it, and he seeks to. He doesn't lean on his good looks. He picks interesting roles. Mm. And and then there's the first Pirates, and he still did. It started. It's weird because it didn't start immediately with Pirates, but that's kind of where you could say things changed because he did something original with that character, and it ended up making that franchise what it is. Yeah, and that was 2003, and so for the past 10 years, he played that character 3 more times. Did some voice work. The last original thing he did that was a success, to me at least, was probably Sweeney Todd. Yeah. But even that wasn't a huge departure. But artistically, it was something different for him. Right. But since then, before then and since then, muddled in with there is a couple of, voice roles, and then a slew of characters who are all essentially, they're not the same, but they're not distinguishably different from each other. Willy Wonka and the Mad Hatter and Tonto and Jack Sparrow are all quite linked. Similar, in some way. And so I had read like an opinion or like a blog or something, and they said it's interesting when you don't do it all the time, but when that's basically all you do now, it's not... Yeah. Johnny Depp has oversaturated that kind of thing. I preferred it people, as a whole didn't really like Public Enemies, but I would like to see him go do a couple more movies like that where he's playing just a dude. Yeah. Not an everyman like in The Tourist. My God. But someone who doesn't have a stupid quirk about them. Like that, he does that well. Sure. But let's see him be the straight man a couple of times because he's a very capable actor, and I don't like what's happening to him right now. You know, So
No, I agree.
I don't like it, you know?
I agree. And then if you look at his IMDb page, which I pulled up, he's got 5 movies coming up, and 2 of them are sequels: Pirates of the Caribbean 5 and Alice in Wonderland 2. I think he's oversaturated it.
Right now, like a big warning sign for me with him is anything with Tim Burton. I know they're friends.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I'm calling it right now. Now that Johnny's back on the market, I think he's gonna swipe Tim's wife.
Yeah.
I think they're in so many movies together. I'm just saying he's gonna pull like a Paul McCartney George Harrison,
Eric Clapton.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that where
Paul
they'll still be friends, but it's always gonna be like a
you stole my wife.
You know, she's the mother of my child, right? You know.
Yeah.
But she just no. There was some interview she did for Sweeney Todd where she was talking about Johnny's voice, and she was like, you know, it's really like, you know, it's raw and like kind of like a rock star. It's quite sexy, actually. And I thought right there, like,
whoa, chill
out.
And
then, like, you know, then later, like, him and his wife or whatever aren't together anymore. And I'm like, he's single again. Watch it. So I'm calling it right now. I think that's going to happen, and then that's going to be the last we see of Tim Burton. That's what's going to happen. And it makes me sad to say, like, they shouldn't work together right now. But because their partnership was a great one. I mean, Edward Scissorhands is a magnificent movie. Ed Wood is a magnificent movie. You know? And then, what was the next one they did after that? They've worked together like 7 times. Let me count backwards. Alice in Wonderland. Dark Shadows. Sweeney Todd was good. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory wasn't. Corpse Bride wasn't. Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, so really most of their films together haven't been that great. You know, and I know that he said he'd do anything for Tim Burton, but you may want to amend that and say, I'll do most things that make sense for Tim Burton. Right.
Well, see, and this is where we disagree, because I've never been a Tim Burton fan, and I like his first Batman movie. After that, but and you know, Edward Scissorhands was okay, but I wouldn't buy it. I don't even think it's really that rewatchable. But you know, whatever. You know, Tim Burton did some animation on Fox and the Hound. That was pretty cool. But anyway, no, it's I think they do need to quit. Of course, I think Tim Burton just needs to quit. Period. But they definitely need to quit their collaboration, because at this point it's a parody of itself. It's not even honest art anymore. It's just a satire of itself.
And it's gone from the reason I like Edward Scissorhands and Ed Wood so much is because they tell like true, honest stories about. I like Ed Wood because I like the earnest zeal of the worst filmmaker ever. You know, his persistence despite the fact that everyone's saying you really suck. And if you've seen the movie, at the end they still go, Ed Wood declined, you know, essentially ended up directing pornos until he died of alcoholism. I was like, oh my god, like But Tim Burton and Johnny Depp both talked about how they're just obsessed with old horror, like Peter Lorre and like, you know, Lon Chaney movies and stuff. And I'm like, well, it's obvious, because that's really all you guys are doing is trying to. You're too obsessed with it. There's homages, and there's like you're clearly fixated on this. It's like it's just like Kevin Smith saying, aren't these stupid jokes funny? And Adam Sandler going, weren't the 80s great? Everyone's like, sure, whatever, but I'm sick of hearing about it. You know? Yeah. I'm sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, so I like Johnny Depp, but like it's gotten to the point lately where I'm not excited when I hear his name. And this is coming from a fan of his. Like I get to the point where when
I know you're a fan.
I'm just like I can't. You know, I'm not. That doesn't do anything for me. If anything, I'm like, uh-oh.
No, that's true. And like you said, it's that much worse, because I know, like, I remember back when we first met, how big of a Johnny Depp fan you were.
Yeah.
And
I was like the prime of my fandom was the first year of college because I was had access
I remember
to more of his stuff.
Exactly, and you. I think we all watched Blow because you insisted on it.
Yeah.
I mean, not like you were like, we're gonna watch it.
Sit the fuck down and watch this.
We're watching it now. But we did. We watched it, and I just remember that was one of the first things that I remember about you was that very early on I connected that was someone that you enjoyed, and so to hear that from you now, that's quite a.
It makes me sad.
I know. Oh God, things change.
Yeah, but I mean, and Blow is a great example. That's a movie where he played. Movies where he plays real people tend to do better on the scale of things like that. And Blow is one of those movies where in the real person he was playing, he played. Hunter Thompson was a real person, but he played like a fictionalized version of him in Fear and Loathing, which was a fantastic movie. But Blow is one of those movies that. He's a normal guy, It's one of those where it doesn't demand an eccentricity of you. It demands a place of honesty from you, and a lot more subtlety. And I wish he'd make more movies like Blow.
Yeah, I agree.
So
because he is a good actor, and
he's a good actor, and he's going to get to the point. I mean, the guy is in his 50s now, and if he's not careful, he's not only because he can't play a young guy anymore. He's going to get cast as like the crazy dad roles or the crazy grandpa roles if he's not careful. Yeah. And I know he doesn't want to do that.
No.
I mean,
and I don't want to see it either.
You can for a while, like when he was doing Pirates. The whole reason he did that in the first place, he said, because he wanted to make movies his kids could. All the stars do that at some point. We want to make movies our kids can see. Well, your kids are like 13 now, so they don't want to watch any more, goofy shit.
Right. Exactly.
When I was 13, I didn't want to watch, I didn't want to watch movies like Alice in Wonderland.
No, I didn't.
I wanted to watch some cool stuff. So do some
cool
stuff. Make me happy again.
Yes. True.
So you're breaking my heart, Johnny Depp.
You're breaking my heart, Anakin.
You're breaking my heart, Anakin. You were my brother. I loved you.
I hate you. Just like the worst line delivery ever.
You were supposed to bring down the studio system, not join them.
I love how Obi-Wan just de-limbs one of his best friends. And then just he watches him start to burn and just leaves him. Like at that point, he gave up that much. Like I don't know what you would have to do, Connor, to make me watch you catch fire and me just walk away. Like that would be, you'd have to do a whole lot. Like kill some kids, maybe, but good Lord, have mercy. Like he just annihilates his limbs. He starts to catch fire and he leaves, and
he cuts off his legs. And then afterward goes, "Hey, I love you, dude." Then
doesn't even bother to make sure he's dead. Out of pity, I could just kill you before the lava does it. But you live miraculously, and I don't even feel bad about it. Man, that would I don't know. Obi-Wan, such a jerk. He just goes and moves away, and he doesn't. I want to see the Obi-Wan where he stays up at night thinking I should have saved him. Oh my God, what have I done?
This is all my fault. Every person he finds dead as a result of Darth Vader giving orders, he should be thinking, man, if I had helped him and not cut off his, maybe if I had shown him kindness, I would have,
or just killed him. Either way, you had two very viable options and you did nothing. You literally just
killed
didn't
him
do
or been
anything.
nice to him, and instead you left him alive to suffer. That's option. That's door number 3. No.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. that should have been written so much better.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Talking about how much better this prequels could be is it's just beating a dead horse. Yeah, we all know they're terrible. Another thing about Disney, they're doing these new Mickey Mouse shorts. They're not. They're using the official voices of everybody but Mickey. They recast Mickey.
What?
And I'm like, what? So this is the first time in Disney history that there's been two people voicing Mickey simultaneously. And the guy sucks too. He's doing like a Mickey impression. It's basically what I just did. Hey, Goofy, and it's just terrible. And then you have like actual Bill Farmer there going whoosh, and it's like, this is really weird because we have one really good guy and one really awful voice actor. Speaking of voice actors like that, Rob Paulsen and Maurice LaMarche are coming to Atlanta like during Dragon Con. They're not going to be here at Dragon Con, but you can buy, it's like $45. You can buy a meet and greet ticket. Like what they're going to be doing is they're doing like a reading of an episode of Pinky and the Brain live. And then afterwards, like if you buy that $45 ticket or whatever, you get to take a picture with them and get them to sign one piece of memorabilia.
You're going to go, right?
I thought about it.
You're not going to go?
Because I don't know. I thought about it because Rob Paulsen is the man.
Yeah.
Like Maurice LaMarche, he's also awesome. But Rob Paulsen is like a...
Oh my... You've got to go, Dustin.
Time, yeah.
You should go.
He's Raphael and Donatello.
Yeah.
And, you know...
Wacko.
And Wacko.
Wait, is he? Or is he Yakko?
No, he's Yakko. He's
Yakko.
Yeah, he's Yakko. And then Carl Weezer, Antoine from the Sonic show. I love that guy. A little bit racist, but whatever. No, he's awesome. I love Rob Paulsen.
Yeah, you should go.
And, I know. And Maurice LaMarche does a spot on William Shatner, too.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
You should, we should make business cards for the HooperCast, and you should slip them one. Be like, hey.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's, I just call this.
You should have us on Talking Tunes.
Oh, my God. Or have them on there.
Wouldn't that be cool?
We'll just tell them, like, okay, what do you, wait, okay, I got a Kermit, okay? You got a Kermit voice. Do you like the Kermit voice? And they'll be like,
That's not very good.
This is all we're doing? Yeah, like, you ask us any questions? Wait. What about this?
Here's Optimus Prime.
What about this voice? What do you think?
This is Optimus Prime.
Yeah, and I feel like, I guess it's good. If I say it's good, will you stop?
You could do your Carl Weezer.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, just thought I'd ask you a question. Are herpes for life, or are they just... Is it just temporary? Because this is unpleasant.
Let's talk about one more thing. Batman Superman.
Yes.
Announced at Comic-Con. What are your thoughts on just the idea of that being Man of Steel 2?
I'm cool with it, just as long as they do it right. I mean, because if you drop the ball, it's going to show the studios whether they can do this or not, and it's going to show fans whether they should do it or not, if they want to see it, if they're ready for it. I just want them to cast. I want them to cast the right person as Batman. I mean,
I'm with you. The casting list hasn't been that great. Yeah. But I will say, I am warming up to Josh Brolin as Batman. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Honestly, I really just want them to cast an unknown, and I want them to cast an unknown that's around Henry Cavill's age.
Yeah.
You don't want one of them going, I'm too old to do these movies now, and the other one going like, well, what? I'm doing like 800 push-ups an hour. Like, I think I meant to say 800 push-ups a minute, because 800 an hour is very, very easy to manage. Not that many push-ups.
Plus you have the whole thing where it's like, okay, if Batman's old, then that means that he's been Batman before Man of Steel. Or if he hasn't, then it's even weirder, because it's like, what have you been doing?
Yeah, what has he been doing with his life? Yeah.
Yeah. Because originally I know Zack Snyder had mentioned that Man of Steel was like the launching point. Like everything would be, all the other heroes would be coming off of the events in Man of Steel. And it's because of Man of Steel that everything else happens. So I don't know if they're dropping that so that they can do an older, like more grizzled Batman.
Yeah.
But it sounded like a good idea to me. Although I understand that doing another like beginner Batman isn't like different enough from Christian Bale. So I can understand the pressure to maybe just go ahead and say, okay, he's 50, or not 50, but he's 40 years old, he's, been Batman for a long time, and that's automatically different from Christian Bale.
I mean, I definitely don't want to see an aging Batman because I feel like that's what we did see with Christian Bale. Even though he wasn't aging, for the whole third film, he's his legs all messed up, and he's talking about how much he wants to stop being Batman. So I'd rather see a Batman who's like, this is awesome. I'd rather see a Batman who still has that zeal. Because Nolan stuck to practicality, you don't have a Batman who's like leaping around doing all this crazy stuff, not to mention bad fight choreography. So I'd rather them have a shot at the Arkham City kind of Batman, Like he's old, but he's not like aging. He doesn't have like
right. Well, I don't think they're going for aging Batman. I think they're just going for like veteran. I've been at this for a while and I'm pretty good at it.
I don't want like a Terry McGinnis Batman. I guess that's what we're both. I think we both agree. Like we don't want a young. We want a wise Batman, and a wise Batman's going to be around 40. That's fine. I just want them to cast someone. I'd rather them cast someone who looks a little older, who actually isn't, because you don't want to cast someone who's not going to be able to play the role 5 years from now.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to cast someone with some kind of longevity who's going to take care of themselves. So, honestly, this isn't the kind of choice I'm thinking of, but I know it's spelled Gerard, but it's pronounced Jared. Jared Butler. Yeah. Not the kind of actor I want playing him, but like someone like that who carries some kind of screen presence. He's not young, but he's not old either.
Right.
That's a good and physically fit, And if they're not going to give it to an unknown, I'd rather them pick someone like Carl Urban or something like that. To be Batman. I want Batman to be. It'd be nice if he was just tall, not like a giant, but not my height.
Right. No, I think they should just use Arkham City as a blueprint.
Yeah.
And say, this is the Batman we're going for. And because, I mean, one of the things that I like most about the Batman franchise is all the supporting characters. And that's one thing that we haven't even really gotten on screen ever. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, beyond Dick Grayson, we've never gotten, and, Alicia Silverstone doesn't count. And so you have, like, Robin, but you don't. We've never had a Batgirl. We've never had a Nightwing. We've never had a second or a third or a fourth Robin. We've never had any of that kind of stuff. And I think that's what interests me more than anything is just the world, like seeing the effect that Bruce has on people, and his war on crime becomes less personal when these other people are involved too. And that's a good thing because over time the character has to change, and over time anyone would become less vengeful, less like driven by the parent's death. And so, the idea that an 80-year-old Bruce is still thinking about his parents and stuff, that doesn't appeal to me. That makes him seem stupid. That makes him seem like weak and depressed,
emotionally fragile.
Yeah, and so I like to see that's the first few years. But once Robin starts coming along, I feel like the main point of Robin is to make him realize that it's not about his own tragedy, but rather it's about saving others and doing what's right because you can. And so because of Robin, because of Batgirl, he becomes a hero, whereas before he's vigilante. And so that's where I find Batman interesting. So that's what I'd like to see from Man of Steel 2. Let me ask you this. There's a couple rumors, I don't know if you've heard this, about the villain for Man of Steel 2. We've been led to believe that it's going to be a Batman versus Superman movie, which is cool too, but there's got to be a villain behind the whole thing. And the thought is that it's going to be Lex Luthor. And the rumor is that there are two people that they're looking at to play Lex. And they've both been mentioned on our podcast already today. The two people, you want me to say, or do you want to guess?
Let me think. Let's think. This is fun. Give me a hint. In which context?
We were talking about television.
Were we talking about Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston is one rumor. The other one is also from television. We were talking about it. also on AMC.
Oh, that show.
Yeah.
What's Mark Strong?
Yes.
I'd pick Mark Strong over Bryan Cranston.
I would too.
Because he needs to be like an Olympic athlete. God love Bryan Cranston. He's a strong actor, but he's no spring chicken.
No. And yes, I agree. I think Mark Strong would be actually an incredible choice.
Yeah, he'd be a great choice.
And he's not only a fantastic actor, but he looks like Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he does.
He can look like a villain, but at the exact same time, he can also look like a charismatic, like, socialite. And that's what Lex needs. And, I love Bryan Cranston. I think he can probably pull off anything, but he doesn't quite look like a billionaire playboy. He just looks like, Walter White.
I guarantee you no one would have even thought of him if he hadn't been on Breaking Bad as a bald character.
No, I think Bryan Cranston would make an awesome Commissioner Gordon.
He's voiced him before.
He has. I think he'd be amazing. And I think
got a strong mustache.
Yeah. You just give him that mustache and the glasses, and he'd have like Breaking Bad season 1 hair, and then just like a long like trench coat, and then like a cigarette, and then there you go. It's pretty awesome.
Damn.
But if they went with either of them, I'd be okay with it. But if only because Bryan Cranston is a good actor, at least they're not going with someone who looks the part but can't act. I'd rather have someone who looks a little less like Luthor but is convincing.
But I want to have a convincing threat. Like
I do too.
If I'm whoever they cast as Batman, I'm not going to be afraid of fighting Bryan Cranston.
Right. This is true. But I think Mark Strong would be awesome.
Yeah, and he'd have to train, but he's a big, tall guy. He seems like he's in pretty good shape already.
He's older than Henry Cavill, but
it's fine. I mean,
who cares?
I don't mind.
He still looks youthful enough.
Yeah. So, for whoever they cast as Batman, I mean, those are the specifications I want. I mean, it gives a chance to do, in terms of age, especially with this age group of people, I think Heath Ledger was the perfect age to play the Joker. But now it's good for them to they can have another shot at that, and they can do it like we said with the blueprint from the games.
Yeah,
do a Joker that's more like Mark Hamill's Joker, because that's the one everyone wants to see.
Yeah, it is.
We've seen Nicholson, Cesar Romero. Oh, it's hilarious. But I was sick of seeing guys who are over 40 playing the Joker.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
No, I agree. I think when I think of the Joker, I think of 3 things. One, you have there's 2 things. There's the clown and there's the killer. And we still, to this day, have never seen both.
A good mix, yeah.
Yeah. I love Heath Ledger, but he's the killer. He's less of a clown. Jack Nicholson, Cesar Romero are clowns, but they're not really that threatening.
Yeah.
Although Jack Nicholson is more threatening than Cesar Romero.
Yeah. It's just, I'm not afraid of someone I'm pretty sure I can outrun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see, crazy, killer, but, I'm going to, be, squirt you with an acid flower or, whatever, clowny kind of stuff. And be lanky and tall and, just animated. You know what I mean?
Defined sharp jaw and...
Yeah. And, so...
Put out a casting call. You know how many fucking people will line up to play the Joker?
I know,
My God. It's not
everyone.
It's not like it's going to come up dry like 3 dudes who are all fat.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about heroes the other day and the comic book characters, and I think we've seen the perfect Iron Man. I think I almost called him Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr.
There you go.
Yeah, I know. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. He is Iron Man. But at the same time, we still have not seen the perfect Spider-Man. We still have not. I love Tobey Maguire, but he's not the perfect. He's not what comes to my mind.
Right. That's a game with people who look the part but can't do it, and people who don't look the part but can do it.
Can do it, exactly. So, technically, Andrew Garfield looks closer to Spider-Man, but he's not doing it. And I don't know if it's him or the writers or both. But
I think he could do it, but I think he's just not being guided to do what he thought he was going to be doing.
True. So anyway, there's all of that stuff, but we haven't seen the perfect Spider-Man. We have not seen the perfect Batman, and they've tried a whole lot of times to get Batman, and we have not seen the perfect one. Mm-hmm. With Superman, I think Christopher Reeve was a pretty near perfect casting choice. To this day, he's still the standard that people hold Superman to. Mm-hmm. I like Henry Cavill. I want to see more of him before I can say whether he's perfect or not. But he certainly looks the part.
I'd like for eventually for him to reach that period of self-assuredness that Christopher Reeve seemed to have, because Superman never really seemed like he was that worried about his own abilities. Exactly. So I'm sure they're working toward that point, but I want to be able to see that look on his face, just the whole...
Yeah, I can do this.
Kind of look on his face, and not the "I'm struggling" face.
Right, exactly. So I think Henry Cavill is a good choice, but I guess what I'm getting at is we have not seen the perfect Batman, and now's the perfect time to do that. And I think Zack Snyder is. I know Zack Snyder is a huge fan of DC Comics and is a huge fan of the genre, and I think he knows what people want. I think he's a fan, and I think people know. I think he knows what he needs to do, and so I know people love to hate him, but I think he's a good choice because he is a fan, and he does know the struggle that's going to come with taking on a character like Batman after an Academy Award nominee or an Academy Award winner just finished playing Batman. Yeah. So it's I think he knows what he needs to do, and so I'll leave it at that. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. It's really going to depend. They just need that casting, and once you have it in your head who you think is a good choice, it's kind of like now I want Mark Strong. Now I can't think who could they possibly come up with who's a better choice for Lex Luthor than him.
Exactly.
So who could they come up with a better Gordon than Bryan Cranston?
Exactly.
That is now the standard.
Benchmark.
Because what do I know? But at the same time, give me reasons why those are not good choices. You know what I mean?
You can't do it. Yeah, they look the part and they can act.
That's the thing. It's the easiest thing in the world to tell me why it sucks. Tell me why it sucks. If you can tell me why it sucks, it's a good idea. So they look the part and they can act. I think that's So, but as we know though, with poor story, if the story's bad, like with Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield looks the part, can act. Fucked up.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a very good point. People often, it's easy to look at him and say, "Oh, look how he sucks as Spider-Man."
Right.
But it's the writers. They're the ones that should have understood that character. The directors, the director in this case, the director should have an understanding of who Peter Parker is, and he does not have that. And it's a shame because there's a lot of source material to pull from, even the last 3 movies, to tell you who Peter is, and they can't seem to do it. I caught some of Spider-Man 3 on TV the other day. I have it on Blu-ray, but I've just never have put it in. Mm-hmm. But I caught some of Spider-Man 3, and it surprised me, I guess because I haven't watched it since The Amazing Spider-Man, but how much more accurate that version of Peter is to what's in my head. Because, he does some goofy dancing. Yeah, he parts his hair really strangely when he's, under the influence of the symbiote.
But that's all his pretension, though,
Yeah. But just, I do believe it when he turns around and swings and hits Mary Jane and knocks her to the floor. I believe, that's Peter looking at it and saying, "What have I done?" And then the moment when he goes back to his apartment, his tiny little apartment, and Aunt May shows up, and he's like, I heard her, Aunt May, and he's like broken up about it. That's Peter. But The Amazing Spider-Man was not Peter. And so even in a terrible movie, they can still get, Spider-Man 3 is not terrible, but it isn't that great. But even in a poorly scripted movie, they understood Toby, Sam, they understood who Peter was, and these guys don't. Mark Webb and Andrew Garfield, they may know it on paper, but it's a totally different thing putting it to practice, and they just didn't do it.
I think it's no coincidence that in Spider-Man 2, that the play that Mary Jane is in is the importance of being earnest.
Yeah.
I think about that every time I watch it. I'm like, you don't just pick a play like, oh, let's Russian roulette. What play we're gonna pick? Yeah. The importance of being earnest. It's
by design.
It's the most Peter Parker's most definable quality, earnest.
Yeah.
Like one word to describe them.
Yeah.
And it's just like they clearly didn't see that movie.
No, yeah, exactly. Peter is nothing if not like humble.
Yeah.
If not honest and and loving and just a generally nice guy.
Yeah.
And that's what's always been so appealing about the Spider-Man stories is that here you have this nice character, this like sweetheart who always tries to do what's right, and the world just keeps like just knocking him over the head and being like, okay, now your girlfriend's dead. Oh, and now your uncle's dead. And so it's just like that's what's always been so captivating is that here's a guy who does what's right and still gets punished. And it doesn't work if you don't feel a love for Peter. It doesn't work if you don't feel like it's unjust. But the fact is, in The Amazing Spider-Man, a dying man says, don't go near my daughter. And he says, well, the best secrets are the ones that you don't intend to keep because those are the ones that get you laid or whatever. And so, and so in the second one, when if Gwen Stacy dies, it's going to be like, well, you kind of deserved it, Peter.
Right.
Yeah, she didn't necessarily, but you did. And so I feel bad for her, but I don't care.
But a lot of good it's going to do because she's dead.
Yeah. So, that's what's always been important about Spider-Man, and that's what they're missing. And likewise, something that I can see where people might have had a problem with Man of Steel is that the character is always about, he's always self-assured and he's always very confident, and this character wasn't. I don't think that was a mistake on this movie's part because it's an early Superman. It's the first day that he's on the job. And I think holding it to that standard is a problem on the part of the viewer. And saying, oh, well, whatever, he didn't do this, he should have done that. Well, that's because you know who he is, but he, in terms of the story, doesn't know who he is yet.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, we've seen his future. We have to separate ourselves from that future, and then expect him to grow into it. But I can understand why people might have had a problem with Superman, and I've just defended it. But whatever. We've talked about The Amazing Spider-Man. I feel like that's probably something that we talk about more than anything on this podcast.
Yeah, for real.
Is The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm glad they're changing the costume, though. It basically looks just... except for the eyes, which I like the eyes.
Yeah. I love them.
And it's different.
I love that costume.
But I like how the rest of it is basically the Tobey Maguire costume. They're basically I don't know what we were thinking with that fucking weird one that we've...
I know.
And I'm just
so weird.
I don't know what you're thinking either. And so that tells me, hopefully they're taking a step in the right direction. But the fact that Mark Webb is still... Do we know who's writing the second one?
I think it was Kurtzman and Orsi.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Well, can't have it all, can we?
No. But it's,
At least they're not writing the last episode of Breaking Bad. I'll say that.
I know, for real. Good Lord, that would suck so bad. Them and Damon Lindelof finish Breaking Bad. But no, Yeah, I don't have high hopes for Spider-Man 2, or The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because I saw some footage, and I have to say, Jamie Foxx looks awful. Like, just terrible.
Oh, I forgot he was in it. I hate that guy.
Have you seen the photos or any image of him as
Electro?
Electro?
And when I saw a photo, I thought, well, this stops here.
So bad. Now, this is spoiler territory, so if you don't want to be spoiled for Amazing Spider-Man 2, skip forward a little bit. But his origin, and this obviously happens early in the movie, he falls in a tank of electric eels and becomes living energy. How does that work? That makes no sense. But that's what was in the Comic-Con trailer. Like a vat of eels. And he like falls into it and he's like, now I'm evil and now I'm blue and now... And in the Entertainment Weekly like cover, it shows like him like looking at Spider-Man, and he has a suit and there's like lightning bolts like on the suit, and I'm like, who made that suit? Did you made that suit out of rubber? That makes no sense. Like, that drives me crazy. Like when someone has a suit like that and it's not even explained. Bruce Wayne, I know how you make that suit. Right. Superman, the suit was given to you. Spider-Man, yeah, it's a little weird that he has that suit, but whatever. But Electro,
even the Green Lantern has a reason for having it's a uniform, you know?
Yes, exactly. But freaking Electro, why does he have this get up with lightning bolts on it? Like, did he go to a dude who makes costumes and be like, I want some lightning bolts on there? And the guy's like, oh, cool, that would be cool. And make it for him? Ugh.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad after, I can't remember if they did it in X3, or did they wear their X-Men uniforms in X3?
I don't think so.
I think some of them may have, but I don't think Wolverine did. But especially like Wolverine, like when he put on a uniform, I was just like, he wouldn't do that. He'd just be like, screw this. But I like how in most of the movies, Wolverine's like, I'm going to wear a wife beater.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Although I'll be honest, I would like to see the yellow spandex Wolverine. Just once.
I'm sure they'll do it at some point in this one, in Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
But even the Fantastic Four have reasons for having their uniforms, because those are the only things that conform to their changes or whatever.
Yeah,
Which I think was written for the movie. I think in the comics it just like...
It just was.
It's kind of like the Hulk's pants. Like, why wouldn't?
Yeah, you know.
But like,
no, it's really weird. But yeah, not looking forward to Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Oh well. All right. Well, this seems like a good place to take the nose off the grindstone. So
your nose was still on the grindstone.
Still on it. Hurts.
Oh. Yeah, it probably looks
Janice,
like Voldemort.
This hurts.
Janice! Oh, Janice!
I've been watching The Sopranos, and I just saw the episode where the Bobby's like, Janice, you need to go to anger management. And at the end of the episode, Tony, like, he hates that she has her anger under control, so he just says all these terrible things to her about her son until she freaks out.
Yeah.
I was like, what an asshole! Like,
but Janice was a...
Yeah, but like, but in that episode, she was like bettering herself or whatever. And Tony couldn't handle it. And then he was like, what does he say? He says something. He's like, talking about how, oh, your son's in Seattle. You haven't seen him in a while. And he said something, or now he's in France or something like that. And he's like, I wonder what's French for I don't have a mother.
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh,
Sacrez-vous, mi mama.
Yes. Oh, so mean. But whatever. I hate Janice.
Like, oh my god, it's so awful.
Janice is literally like one of the characters I hate more than I don't even.
I hated Richie Aprile more.
No, I hate Janice. I hate Janice so much that it like transcends the Sopranos, and then she's just someone that I hate.
Like if you saw her in public, you'd punch her.
Like I don't even hate I don't even hate anybody like in real life, but I hate her so much that if I ever met what's her name, Ida Totoro, I would probably like give her a swift kick in the stomach. I hate her so much, And then she'd be like, I'm an actress. And I'm like, I know, but I hate that character so much that I hate you. And I hate anyone that ever wrote the character. I hate everything. And, I just hate Janice. Oh, Lord. If I have to look at that stupid Rolling Stones tattoo one more time, I'm going to lose it.
Well, stay tuned for the next episode of the HooperCast, whenever that is. Busy these days. I don't imagine there'll be a movie for us to review since we're out of the summer, so.
Yeah.
We'll probably just do little film news tidbits that are about a third the length of this episode.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. All right, homie.
All right, dude.
All right, see you later.
See you later.
Peter.
I'm here, Uncle Ben.
Peter.
Peter!
You're all good, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Go.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
I'm going to pull out this massive slate.
Those were two mice giving each other a hand job.
Thank you, buddy.
Don't mention it, buddy.
Okay. Two mice. Thank you.
Oh. All right. So.
Okay.